In the 1960s, Israel was facing a death sentence. A country of 2.5 million people, half of it desert, constantly hit by droughts, surrounded by enemies who had already threatened to strangle them by cutting off water. Experts predicted collapse within 20 years. Today, Israel has so much water, it's pumping excess desalinated seawater back into the Sea of Galilee, reversing the flow of rivers. They're exporting water to Jordan. They're growing crops in the desert using sewage water. And their per capita water consumption is one of the lowest in the developed world. What happened? How did a country that was dying of thirst become a water powerhouse? And more importantly, why does this matter to you? Because if you live in California, Texas, Arizona, India, Australia, Spain, or anywhere experiencing droughts, you're facing the same crisis Israel faced 60 years ago. And the solutions Israel pioneered, your government is studying them right now. Global Water Crisis 2025. 2.3 billion people face water scarcity at least 1 month per year. American Southwest, Colorado River at historic lows, Lake Mead at 28% capacity. India, 21 major cities projected to run out of groundwater by 2030. By 2050, half of humanity in water-stressed regions. The Israeli playbook, desalination, wastewater recycling, drip irrigation, water pricing, cultural change, is being copied worldwide. Today, we're breaking down exactly how they did it, what it cost, what worked, and what failed. Because this isn't just history, this is the manual for the 21st century. To understand Israel's water miracle, you need to understand just how screwed they were. Israel is 22,000 square kilometers, the size of New Jersey. 60% of it is desert. Annual rainfall, 100 to 200 millimeters in the south. That's less than Phoenix, Arizona. Israel had exactly 3 natural water sources. Sea of Galilee, or Lake Kinneret, holds 4 billion cubic meters fed by the Jordan River. Mountain aquifer, underground water beneath West Bank hills. And coastal aquifer, groundwater along the Mediterranean coast. That's it. No major rivers, the Jordan is tiny and shared. No glaciers, no monsoons. Just a small lake and 2 aquifers that were being pumped faster than they could recharge. Then came the drought that nearly broke Israel. From 1998 to 2002, rainfall dropped to 60% of normal. The Sea of Galilee, Israel's lifeline, dropped to negative 214.4 meters below sea level, breaching the black line where ecological collapse begins. Taps ran dry in parts of Jerusalem. Agriculture faced 30 to 40% water cuts. Fights broke out at public wells. The government imposed harsh rationing, and everyone asked the same terrifying question: what happens when the lake goes empty? That drought forced Israel to make a choice: innovate or die. They chose innovation, and what they built over the next 20 years changed everything. The first solution: stop depending on rain, start depending on the ocean. Israel has a 190-kilometer Mediterranean coastline. The ocean never goes dry. So they built the most advanced desalination industry in the world. Between 2005 and 2023, Israel built 5 massive seawater reverse osmosis plants. Israel's desalination fleet: Ashkelon, 2005, 100 million cubic meters per year, first large-scale plant. Palmachim, 2007, 90 million cubic meters per year. Hadera, 2009, 127 million cubic meters per year. Sorek, 2013, 150 million cubic meters per year, largest RO plant in the world when built. Ashdod, 2015, 100 million cubic meters per year. Total capacity, 585 million cubic meters per year. Cost, over $2 billion in infrastructure investment. Today, desalinated seawater provides 80% of Israel's domestic drinking water. That's not a typo. 8 out of 10 liters of tap water in Tel Aviv comes from the ocean. The crown jewel is Sorek, 150 million cubic meters per year, enough for 1.5 million people. It uses 16-inch vertical pressure vessels, the largest in the world, housing membranes that filter seawater.
How reverse osmosis works. Seawater pumped in at 70 bar 1000 psi pressure. Water molecules forced through semi-permeable membrane, 0.0001 micron pores. Salt, minerals, and bacteria stay behind, brine. Pure water comes out the other side. Energy recovery systems capture pressure from the brine, 50% energy savings. Sorek produces water at 58 cents per cubic meter, cheaper than natural fresh water in many countries. That's the breakthrough that made desalination economically viable at national scale. But let's talk about the dark side. Desalination produces brine, super concentrated salt water that's twice as salty as the ocean. Israel produces about 0.5 billion cubic meters of brine per year. Where does it go? Back into the Mediterranean, mixed with cooling water from power plants to dilute it, then discharged through long pipes offshore. But marine biologists warn this is creating high salinity zones that harm fish larvae and bottom-dwelling species. Desalination also has massive energy costs, requiring over 11 terawatt-hours of electricity annually, which increases air pollution unless powered by renewables. And there's a public health concern. Desalinated water lacks iodine, causing iodine deficiency in 85% of pregnant women and 62% of school children. Israel is now adding iodine back to desalinated water and investing in renewable energy for plants. But the lesson is clear. There's no perfect solution. Every water source has a trade-off. Okay, desalination solved drinking water, but agriculture uses 50% of Israel's water. You can't irrigate crops with expensive desalinated water, so Israel pioneered the second solution: treat sewage to near drinking quality and use it to grow food. And they became the undisputed world champions at it. Global Wastewater Recycling 2024. Israel, 90% of wastewater treated and reused, mostly agriculture. Spain, 17%, second place globally. USA, 7%. Global average, less than 1%. Israel recycles 90% of its sewage, 4 times more than any other country on Earth. That's not municipal wastewater for landscaping. That's tertiary treated effluent being used to grow tomatoes, oranges, and dates that get exported worldwide. The flagship is the Shafdan Wastewater Treatment Plant near Tel Aviv. It treats 134 million cubic meters per year, 97 million gallons per day of municipal sewage from Tel Aviv. Shafdan treatment process. Primary, screen out solids, grit. Secondary, biological treatment, removes organics. Tertiary, advanced filtration, UV disinfection. Soil aquifer treatment, SAT. Effluent seeps through sand into aquifer for 400 days, naturally purifying. Result? Near drinking quality water pumped out for agriculture. The treated water is piped to irrigate 60% of agriculture in the Negev desert, farms in the desert growing crops with Tel Aviv's toilet water. It sounds insane, but it works. Here's something wild. Most Israeli homes have a dual plumbing system, purple pipes for wastewater. Sewage from your toilet doesn't mix with industrial runoff or stormwater. It goes to dedicated treatment plants optimized for human waste. This separation makes treatment easier, cheaper, and more effective. In most countries, sewage mixes with everything: industrial chemicals, street runoff, heavy metals, making it way harder to purify. Israel designed the infrastructure assuming sewage would be recycled from day one. And here's the genius move. Israel is now pumping excess desalinated seawater into depleted coastal aquifers during winter when demand is low. The aquifer stores it, and during summer droughts, they pump it back out. It's an underground battery for water, and it solves two problems: stops aquifer depletion and provides seasonal storage without building massive reservoirs.
But treating sewage for agriculture only works if you don't waste it. That's where the third innovation comes in: drip irrigation. Invented in Israel in the 1960s, now used worldwide. Traditional irrigation: flood fields with water. 50 to 70% evaporates or runs off. Water efficiency, 30 to 50%. Drip irrigation. Plastic tubes deliver water directly to plant roots. Almost zero evaporation. Water efficiency, 90 to 95%. Drip irrigation uses 50% less water than traditional methods, while actually increasing crop yields by 20 to 50%, because plants get consistent, optimal moisture. The company that pioneered this, Netafim, started in 1965 on Kibbutz Hatzirim in the Negev. Today, they're a $1 billion company operating in 110 countries. Israel's drip irrigation technology is feeding billions of people. California's almond farms, drip irrigation. India's drought-prone regions, drip irrigation. Middle East date plantations, drip irrigation. The Israeli invention is everywhere. But here's the uncomfortable truth that made everything else work. Israel made water expensive, and that's why conservation actually happened. Israeli water expert Clive Lipshin said it bluntly: "Water is a basic right, but it cannot be a free good. People have to pay. Most people around the world do not pay, so that's a huge barrier." Israeli water pricing in 2024. Tier 1, 0 to 7 meters cubed per month per person, $1.50 per meter cubed, basic needs. Tier 2, 7 to 10 meters cubed per month, $3 per meter cubed. Tier 3, 10 to 15 meters cubed per month, $4.50 per meter cubed, wasteful use. Tier 4, 15 meters cubed extra per month, $6 per meter cubed, luxury pools. The more you use, the more you pay per liter. Fill a swimming pool, you're paying 4 times the base rate. This progressive pricing structure cut household water consumption by 18% in urban areas during the 2008 drought. But pricing alone isn't enough. During the 2000s droughts, the Water Authority launched campaigns featuring famous Israelis, singer Ninette Tayeb, model Bar Rafaeli, actors, urging the public to save water. It resulted in reducing consumption by more than 10%, saving the construction of an entire desalination plant. Water conservation became a cultural value. Kids learn about it in school. Restaurants don't automatically serve water. Long showers are considered wasteful. It's not just technology, it's a mindset. Israel's water transformation, 1967 versus 2024. 1967, natural fresh water use, 504 million meters cubed per capita. Desalination, 0%. Wastewater recycling, less than 5%. Agriculture's water share, 75%. Status, chronic scarcity, frequent rationing. 2024, natural fresh water use, 98 million meters cubed per capita, 80% reduction. Desalination, 80% of drinking water, about 600 million meters cubed a year. Wastewater recycling, 87% versus 17% in Spain, second globally. Agriculture's water share, 35%, down from 64% in 2000. Status, water surplus, exporting to neighbors. And here's the stunning part. Israel is now pumping excess desalinated seawater backwards through the national water carrier into the Sea of Galilee. They're refilling the lake that was dying. The same lake that dropped below the black line in 2002? In 2024, it's at its highest level in decades.
because desalination freed Israel from depending on it. Now it's being restored as an ecological reserve. So what's the Israeli water playbook that the world is copying? The 5-point strategy: desalination, expensive but climate-proof, 80% of drinking water; wastewater recycling, treat sewage like a resource, 90% reuse rate; efficient irrigation, drip systems cut agricultural use 50%; price water realistically, progressive pricing drives conservation; cultural change, make conservation a social value. These solutions work, but they're not cheap. Israel invested over $750 million in wastewater infrastructure and $2+ billion in desalination. That's massive capital investment for a small country. And here's the brutal reality. Israel's population is projected to grow from 9.7 million to 15 to 20 million by 2065. That could require 3.7 billion meters cubed of desalinated water annually, compared to 0.6 billion today. They'd need to build 30 new desalination plants. Even with all this innovation, population growth can overwhelm any water system. Technology bought Israel time, but infinite growth on finite resources? That's still an unsolved problem. Israel didn't solve water scarcity because they're special. They solved it because they had no choice. They were facing national collapse. So they made hard decisions, charge real prices for water, invest billions in desalination, drink recycled sewage, change their culture. Most countries won't act until the crisis is undeniable. California waited until Lake Mead dropped to 28% capacity. India waited until 21 cities faced day zero. By then, solutions take decades to build. Israel acted early. That's the real lesson. Would you drink water that came from a desalination plant or use recycled wastewater to grow your food? Let me know in the comments. I'm curious if people trust these systems. Until then, stay curious, stay ambitious, and remember, the future isn't built by the most water. It's built by the smartest water management. See you next time.